What's going on, everybody? You can call me Kennerz, and welcome to another episode of PolyJAMourous, a series where I talk about music that I usually like but occasionally don't. For today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at, I might say it's in a way a little bit more of an old school artist. I don't know. For today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at Owl City. I've been a fan of Owl City for years, so I think it's going to be pretty cool to, check out his stuff. So let's go. So, of course, I'm going to be jumping into the history on this. So, Owl City started back in 2007, and although I learned this part a while ago, I was still very surprised to learn that Owl City wasn't done by a whole group of people. He was one person. Owl City is made by one guy, and his name is Adam Young. At the time of its creation, Adam was kind of busy with a few different things. He was working a couple of jobs, one of them being a warehouse worker at a Coca-Cola warehouse, the other one being a night driver for UPS. And he was doing this while also attending community college to get a general arts degree. While he was doing all this, he was actually living in his parents' basement in his hometown of Owatonna, Minnesota, which he still lives in to this day. He lives in Owatonna, not his parents' basement, in case anybody was wondering. So yeah, he was doing all of that at the time of its creation. And when he wasn't doing that stuff, he would create music that he would post on the good old site of MySpace. I don't know how many followers he had by the time he got signed on to his record label, which was Universal Republic Records at the time, which later became Republic Records on its own, which he got signed on to in 2008. Prior to Ocean Eyes, which is, as you can tell by the title, what we're going to be looking at today, Adam had released one other record under the Owl City name, known as Maybe I'm Dreaming. I was on an Owl City kick a while ago, and I remember listening to this, and I remember enjoying the record, but I don't remember the record itself super well, if that makes sense, so that's something I'm definitely going to be looking at in a future episode. But over the course of Adam's whole career so far, he has released 7 albums under the Owl City name, with the latest one being Cocoa Moon. This album I do remember because it had a little bit more of a pop punk inspiration to it. Fun fact about Adam, he actually does some of the pop punk, emo, alternative music. He actually had Mark Hoppus from Blink-182 on one of his songs on Midsummer Station, and the song is Dementia. I love it. It's a great record. Great record. Shit. The track itself is really awesome. I mean, Midsummer Station's a great record, but, speaking on Dementia specifically, I love that song. Yeah, so Adam actually likes pop punk and emo music, and Cocoa Moon takes a little bit more of that sound. Not too much, it's still very Owl City, but it's more that alternative sound. If you like emo, if you like pop punk, alternative, all that shit, go check out Cocoa Moon. It's great. On top of the 7 albums that Adam has made over the years, he's also won several awards, one of them being a Billboard Japan Music Award for Hot Top Airplay with his song Good Time that he did with Carly Rae Jepsen back in 2012. Good God, is that a throwback? I remember when that song came out. I remember how big of a hit it was. It's still a great song. I love it. It's just... holy shit, that's a throwback. And on today's episode of I Get to Feel Old, he won a Billboard Japan Music Award for Good Time. He won, He won a 2010 award for Fireflies for Record of the Year, and then he also won an Annie Award for Music in a Feature Production for Disney's Wreck-It Ralph. So I think that's all I have to say in terms of the history for Adam and Owl City. Yeah, I guess on to Ocean Eyes. So Ocean Eyes was released on July 28th, 2009, and this is where the hit Fireflies came from. So just like with anything in life period, you are going to have a multitude of different opinions, and Ocean Eyes is no exception. From what I saw on my initial search, the reviews were positive. However, when I took a little bit of a deeper dive into the reviews on Ocean Eyes, they were actually surprisingly mixed. I got a couple of the reviews written down, so I'm just going to be starting off with a more positive one with... I love this name. We're going to be starting off with a review from Jesus Freak Hideout. I love that name. I just think it's funny. They praised Ocean Eyes, giving it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, saying that the album had dreamy lyrics and open soundscapes, which I would agree with it. It definitely has that dreamy vibe, and it's really cool. The review went on to, obviously speak very positively of it, calling it a masterpiece in electronic pop music. Now, as much as I love Ocean Eyes, I wouldn't personally agree with it. I think it's a great album. I just wouldn't qualify it as a masterpiece. But regardless of my opinion on the album as a whole, that's what Jesus Freak Hideout said. And they also added that it would be a great thing to listen to during the summer. That I would agree with. I would definitely agree with that part of the review, with it being a great summer listen. Jesus Freak Hideout was not the only one to leave such a positive review. The other one that I wrote down was Indie Vision Music. The person who wrote the article, it was his first time ever being exposed to Owl City, and he had a really positive response to Owl City, and was even saying in the article that he loved it and immediately had to go buy like everything that he could at the merch table, and he had to go tell his friends about Owl City. The only critique that the author had of Ocean Eyes was the fact that I didn't have too many serious topics on it, so with the exception of that, gave the album a perfect score. Now, I did say that the reviews were mixed, so of course I had to throw in a more negative review on here, and this was from Sputnik Music, giving the album a 1 out of God knows how many stars, because I couldn't find a minimum. I've got it right here on my iPad, the exact quote from the review. The author said, "The album does just about nothing right, from its embarrassingly gooey lyrics to its cornball string arrangements to, you guessed it, its ceaseless pinching from the Postal Service." I'll give him credit for creativity on the dig. Not the best one that I've seen, but you know, I'll give him creativity for the dig. When I looked at the album review on Sputnik, I didn't see an author, so if anybody wants to correct me on that, that's cool. If not, it's really not that big a deal. But that is all I have to say on Ocean Eyes. No. So if you were coming across this video and you have never listened to Owl City in general, yeah, he's an EDM artist, and this album is definitely along that line. Definitely more of an electronic music album. And it tends to have a much more dreamy sound to it. Really, it makes you feel like you're kind of leaving this world for a little bit, and I think it really, as a whole, provides a nice escape from reality. I think that's all I have to say on the album as a whole, so moving on to my favorite tracks. Number 1, I will admit I kind of hate putting it here because it is his most popular song, but it would be Fireflies. So this one I probably do have a little bit of bias towards, because this is the first song that I don't think only got me into Owl City, but I think got a lot of people into Owl City. I mean, it was his breakout single, for God's sake. But the sound of it genuinely is my favorite off of the record, because I like the dreamy sound that it's got. I like that the lyrics, off the top of my head, the lyrics to me really just describe the experience of being in a dream, and I think that matched up with the sound. It just has a surprisingly pretty sound to it. But the sound, there's also, it's got the dreamy sound. I think the melody of the song has a certain innocence to it, and it's just beautifully done, and it just really takes me out of this world, and I don't know what else to say on it. Just really, the melody is really well done, and I love the dreamy sound of it, and it's great. And I think the inspiration for it is actually pretty cool, and I think something that a lot of us can actually relate to. To sum it up, the inspiration's basically insomnia. I have an exact quote from Adam from an Entertainment Weekly interview that he did many moons ago talking about Fireflies. And the exact quote, "Fireflies was inspired by a camping trip I took up to a totally rustic and kind of remote lake in northern Minnesota where there really isn't much of anything. I can remember sleeping out on a dock on the edge of this lake and looking up at the sky. There was a meteor shower that night. I remember thinking, what a cool idea of shooting stars and being fireflies. And trying to translate that into music, that's what spurred it on. I was also influenced by the lack of sleep that tends to happen, which I like that little addition that just gives it a certain comedic taste." Yeah, he was inspired by the camping trip, and I found it really, really interesting that his brain just kind of translated the meteor shower into fireflies and was able to, you know, make the song. I don't know, I just think that inspiration is really cool and unique, and the insomnia is definitely relatable, so I love the inspiration. And then for me, Fireflies also has some nostalgia to it. I remember when Fireflies first came out. I was a kid then, and I have very fond memories of listening to that song on repeat. I'm one of those people where if I find a new song, chances are pretty good that if I really, really like it, at least, I'm gonna be listening to that shit on repeat for a couple of days at least. I listened to Fireflies on repeat for days. I don't remember how many days, but I remember it being multiple days. And I had this little pink MP3 player. It was one of those that was a USB stick basically and plugged directly into the computer. It was like a gigabyte of space, which, ooh, time to feel old again, because I remember when a gig was so much space, and now we have hard drives that are like 2 terabytes. Oh my god. There has got to be hard drives that are bigger than even 2 terabytes. Truly, I remember when a gig of space was massive. Yeah, this getting old thing sucks sometimes. But despite me feeling old, there is the memory of my little pink MP3 player, and I just remember that and having Fireflies on that and just being so happy. And then I became an adult. I don't know what to do here. Yeah, so I love Firefly sound in general. I hate that it's making me feel old, but it's fine. This song is a little over 15 years old, which is crazy. But it's a great song. I love it, and I love that, somewhat love that it brings me back to my childhood. But it's fine. It's fine. Moving on. Number 2, Saltwater Room. I feel like Adam tends to name his songs surprisingly well, and I think this one definitely fits because it has a very floaty, beachy kind of vibe to it, and it's one where I could just totally see myself either chilling at the pool, or I could be chilling on the beach or something and like a little floaty with a drink in my hand, just soaking up the sunshine. It's just, it'd be perfect for that kind of a day. So despite the, I guess, happier sounding tune that, you know, is very Owl City, the story behind it, I was actually a little bit surprised by. I don't know about y'all, I am somebody that doesn't always catch lyrics on the first couple listens. I will get hooked on the melody and then the lyrics come later, and there's a decent chance that I'm gonna feel like a dumbass because I've been singing the lyrics wrong the whole time. From what I could gather of the lyrics, I could kind of tell it was more of a love story, but not gonna lie, I was a little surprised for Owl City because his stuff tends to be a lot happier. I haven't noticed too many sadder themes, not necessarily like dark or depressing, just, you know, sad for Owl City. And this one is a little bit sad just because it does tell a love story, but I read the 2 people in the song that Adam is talking about. They really want to stay together and love each other, however, they can't stay together just because the distance between them is too great. Which, not gonna lie, I kind of like that, and just, I can be a little bit of a sucker for depressing stuff as much as I will be bitching about some things, like with Demon Slayer, which I will not be prepared for whatsoever. Yeah, so I love the floaty sound of the lyrics. I love the ironic, or at least I'd say ironic meaning of the song despite the happier sounding tune, or at least the chill tune, I guess. I don't know, I just feel like the meaning's a little ironic for the sound of the song, but I'm always down for that. I mean, like, some of my favorite songs from my favorite band's older stuff, they were that same way. So enough on Saltwater Room. Finally on to number 3, which is Meteor Shower. Once again, Adam names his songs, I think, surprisingly well, because Meteor Shower, the sound of it 1000% fits in the name of it, because it's got more of a chill, spacey kind of thing to it. Once again, I like that it's more of a chill track. It's just got a totally different sound to it from Saltwater Room. And I wouldn't even say it's necessarily like Fireflies either. It's just kind of its own thing. So the meaning of it, I find actually really adorable, because anybody who doesn't know, Adam is a Christian, and this song relates to that. Because this song is about how Adam needs God, and he is born again in Christ and stuff, and well, that's it. I don't have anything more to add to the meaning of that. It's just as simple as that. He is made new again in Christ, and he needs God on his side. So I really like how Adam put it, 'cause I'm not a big fan of a lot of Christian music. A lot of the Christian music that I've personally heard, I'm not a fan of, just because it sounds like preachy in a bad way, if that makes sense. Just something about a lot of it has rubbed me the wrong way, and so I'm not personally a fan of it. But I think the way that Adam made Meteor Shower and was able to convey that message, I think he did a really good job with it, because it doesn't feel preachy. It's just more of a simple, this is who I am. So I think that's all I have to say on Ocean Eyes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there are any other albums or artists I should check out, please let me know in the comments below. I am down to listen to just about anything, hence the name of this whole series. So thank you again, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Later.